Welcome to my world. Handicapped man down at a charity feed. Great spread this morning. God, it was horrible. But it made what I needed to happen. Then I had these people that stopped and said, "Hey, you want some shoes?" I said, "Yeah, I was going to need to get some anyway. So might as well." And if it really comes to fruition, help them buy more shoes so that we can help more people. Well, I'm not but you know what I mean. Hell, might as well. There's nothing wrong with helping someone.
Race friends, they're back together again. Live from Daytona Beach, Florida, it's Scratch with a K. And live from Las Vegas, it's Alan Michaels. Right here, right now, on the flagship station, the WCOBM TV network. It's on Pit Road Racing.
Live from downtown Las Vegas at 450 Fremont Street. That is where the broadcast headquarters are. Just right on the other side of this is the Gene Woods Racing Experience, 12,000 square foot slide and drift track. And on the far side of that of this building is the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame. Sitting here with me, Scratch and Diane will join us here in about 15 minutes. Top of the hour, 4 o'clock up on a Thursday afternoon. And sitting next to me is the three-time U.S. Open Speedway champion, NASCAR driver, Lucas Oil. I even think you drove snowmobiles, too. Didn't you do that, too?
I did a little bit of that.
You did a little bit of that. Gene Woods is welcome to the program, sir, and thanks for taking time out of your day to join us.
Thanks, Mike.
Anyhow, let's get started. How did Gene Woods get racing?
I had an older brother that was 10 years older than me that raced motorcycles, and he kind of opened that door for me. He was, when I was 6 years old, he got me a little mini bike, little home-built mini bike, and that's how it all kind of got started.
Youngest driver you told me that was ever a rider, actually not a driver, a rider that was hired by Honda with a contract?
Actually, the first factory-supported team besides Daytona, where they took the Hondas down there, was Jeff Ward and I on the mini bikes.
On the mini bikes?
Yeah.
And went in there and tear them up?
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
What were they? Like little Honda mini trails or the trails?
Well, it was mini trails, and then it was the SL70 when they came out. It was the real support that they gave us.
Then the XR75 came too. I remember I used to have one of those things, the XR75.
I was the test rider on the XR75, and by the time I got onto an XR75, I was already doing something else. I was racing a 125 by the time they came out.
Really? Yeah. The old Elsinore, the green Elsinores?
I had one of the Elsinores that they got me. Yeah. I was too little for it anyway.
Those things were little rockets back in the day. I had one too. I had an Elsinore one, and you had the boys from the Pentons and everything that were in for the Hot Shoe. There was another guy that was associated with them. He figured out that he could take it off and put a sleeve down in there and make it a 100cc bike. We used to run them in the junior class.
Oh yeah.
And one guy that said I was cheating, broke the bike down, and back then it cost him $100 back then. You got to remember, This is in the 70s, so $100.
Bike only cost $700.
Yeah, but anyhow, that's the way they had a good time. So that went on. What about NASCAR?
NASCAR just came about after I raced motorcycles, and it was kind of an opportunity that I saw to go do some racing again,
right?
And to be able to put some big sponsors together and make a living and kind of do what I like to do.
You were the first person, the first actual racer that actually landed the Monster Energy brand before anybody ever had them.
Yeah, and it was kind of by, it's a long story, but it's probably a good lesson on how to acquire a sponsor.
Really?
Yeah, we were tied in with Auto Trader at the time, and I put a deal together with Auto Trader and Circle K. And then I put a deal together with Auto Trader, Circle K, and Monster.
And Monster all together. And then a couple other people came along. And then after that, Lucas Oil Racing, racing?
We went Lucas Oil Racing, and it all kind of happened for a reason. We had a sponsor, Deja Vu, which is the chain of adult clubs, 180 of them across the country. We bought a Craftsman truck, built a Craftsman truck team, was ready to go racing, all funded, ready to go, had the uniforms made, the trucks, the whole deal. And we had initially contacted NASCAR. And Dennis Huth at the time was the VP of NASCAR, and he said, I'll tell you exactly what he said. I told him, I said, Dennis, I've kind of do your sponsor. He goes, who is it? And I go, Deja Vu. And he goes, oh, the titty bar. And I go, yeah. And he goes, well, what do you plan on doing? I said, well, our plan is to go race. That's what it really is. And he said, well, you're not going to have any naked girls or pictures. And I said, no, it's going to say Deja Vu on the truck, period. That's all it's going to say. We're here to race. And he said, okay, well, I don't see any issues with it. go ahead and do it. And then when you're ready, we'll just approve the graphics. So send me a rendering of the graphics. This is before they had any computer in.
Right.
And so we got about, I don't know what it was, a month and a half before the first race at Fontana. And I sent the graphics to him, and I didn't get any reply. So I sent him a registered letter a week later and said, hey, I sent you the graphics and I haven't received any reply. Well, the next day I got a letter back that said, after reviewing your graphics, not conducive to the image of NASCAR, you will not be allowed to compete. And it went as far as to say, even if it was Deja Vu real estate, you're not allowed to have it on there. So they completely stopped us from the deal.
I don't think a lot of people know that, of course, I've been involved with this. It basically was just a set of legs with fishnet hose on it, right? That's all.
That's all the logo was. Yeah.
There was no the come ride me and the girls and all this and that and everything bouncing around. It was just simply a pair of legs.
That's all it was.
That actually, if you look at it, the legs could have been they could have been put together of the Rockettes.
Yeah.
I mean that's what the Rockettes were.
They were just the people from Deja Vu. They're racers. They're from Michigan.
Yeah.
And they just wanted to go race, and that's what we did. And we wound up racing another series. And I had done something. A friend of mine that owned a West car called me and said, hey, I'm interested in your truck. Why don't you drive my car? Dick Midgley from Vancouver, Canada. And so we raced at Irwindale. We did fairly well in it. And I kind of like, this is kind of cool. I did pretty good. I never even set one before.
Right.
I can do this. And there was some money out there and, to be able to fund the team. And that's how that evolved.
Right.
To make a short story longer.
So then after that, after the trucks, did the snowmobiling and all that fall in between all this and that?
No, that was all when I was a kid, 14,
when you were
15 years old. I was racing snowmobiles. My brother raced motorcycles, and I didn't know if that was what I really wanted to do. I really wanted to be a hockey player.
Really?
So we moved to Mammoth, and so I could join the hockey team. Well, we get up there, and they don't have an ice rink in Mammoth. So we wound up racing snowmobiles and motorcycles. And when I turned 16, we moved back to Southern California. I started riding Speedway.
That's so wild that you said that, Derek Cope, won the Daytona 500. You know what Derek's initial goal was? He was going to be a baseball player.
There you go.
In college, he threw his arm out, and they said no matter what surgery they did to it, it would never be right again. So what the next thing that he did, he jumped into a Bandolero car 2 years later in a super late model, and 2 years after that, here we go. We're on our way, but that's how it is. I would take a quick break here real quickly. When we come back, we're going to talk to Gene and talk about the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame. This is something that he has put together for the motorcycle industry, and it is 99% of the motorcycle industry, but there are some crossover people in there too. So we'll talk about that. It's all coming up for you right after this quick break. Back in 30 seconds, everybody. On Pit Road Racing is live from the WCOBM downtown Las Vegas.
Are you ready for the wildest ride on Fremont Street? The Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience. 450 Fremont Street, suite number 171 on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street. Open 7 days a week, noon until midnight. Strap yourself in, pull your safety belts tight, and feel the power and the speed at the Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience, downtown Las Vegas, Fremont Street, 450 Fremont Street, suite number 171, right on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street. What are you waiting for? Log on, get your tickets now. It's time to go racing at the Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience, 450 Fremont Street, downtown Las Vegas.
Alan Michaels in the control studio. We'll join Scratch with a K. He's down at Daytona Beach. We'll catch with him in about 10 minutes or so. Diane Fox will join the program today. She's got all the race and weather around the country, and she'll take us all around the track to see where everybody's running. And we keep everybody updated in 9 yards right here. Gene Woods, special guest with us. Motorcycle champion, NASCAR, Lucas Off-Road Series, snowmobiling. Then put businesses together, and then you form the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame. How did it come about?
Well, it actually came about when we opened the go-kart track. The walls were pretty blank. I had enough of my junk hanging in there, and I thought, it'd be really cool to have some steel shoes hanging up. And that's
all right.
So I contacted a couple friends of mine, Mike Faria and Jim Fishback, and they said, absolutely, we'll give you our steel shoes. It's not doing anything, right? So we came up with a little name of Hot Shoe Hall of Fame. And then it evolved. It was during COVID. And it just evolved into a thing. It really did. I started contacting people, and they started sending us their hot shoes. And pretty soon we have this phenomenal collection, including people like Kenny Roberts and Eddie Lawson and Greg Hancock and, David Aldana and all the guys from the past, and then all the Speedway guys. And pretty soon we've got 40 or 50 hot shoes hanging on the wall, called the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame. I decided, why don't we have an event? Because nothing has been happening and everybody's dying to get together.
Right.
So we did our proposal and we filled out all the applications. And we were actually the first event, over 25 people in Las Vegas during the COVID problem. We jumped through a lot of hoops to make that happen. And then we wound up with about 1,000 people showed up to our event here.
Yeah, with hand sanitizer. Oh, God, we had to go through. I remember that. We had to go through. It was hand sanitizing this, especially you had to have. We got away with the vaccine. Well, the vaccine thing, we got away with that. I don't think by that time they didn't have to show that you that, but
they had to sign a paper.
Right. Yeah. And that was it. That was it. So and it's moving. 5th year just finished up.
Yeah.
Another great crowd here this year.
Yeah, it just grows every year. We get more new people. More of the famous genre of motorcycle racing and all racing. Actually, we've had some pretty amazing people have showed up to our event, from the guy that founded and started the Guggenheim motorcycle exhibit to the Barbary Museum to people from Meekin Auction to all the famous people that actually show up and our people that are involved, our staff and our board members.
It is something
well known.
If you've not seen it, it has really grown. There's probably close to 300 plaques up on the wall now. Close to
actually more than that.
More than that, really.
More than 300.
I think you and I were talking that we got one more year, then we got to figure out what's going to happen.
Well, we're going to move it into the room back here.
Moving into the big room back here. Yeah. We got plenty of room on the walls there. So Speedway racing, though, is really, you turned me. I'd seen it a couple of times on television. I grew up watching Flat Track, the big 750 bikes. Back then, it was basically Harley dominated everything then. And then Yamaha, Indian all came into it. But you took me first time down to Costa Mesa. And I'd seen it on television, but until you watch it, what has happened to Speedway racing?
What has happened to it?
What has happened to it?
Well, what's happened to all racing? I don't know. It kind of goes through cycles, but I think Speedway has suffered quite a bit because, number one, at one point they wanted to groom all the riders to be able to compete in Europe for a world championship. So they kind of took the dirt off the tracks. They went to conform with FIM standards for tires, that are not conducive to run in a deep cushion, which it hinders the racing. So the racing doesn't become as exciting. And when the crowd drops off, the racing's not as exciting. Well, there's no money. There's no spectators. There's no riders. But I think the real cause initially was grooming the riders to go to Europe. And just like I said before, if NASCAR took their top 5 guys every year and they sent them to Europe and you didn't hear about them, how long would it be before the fan following went away? And that's what was happening.
So it's sort of sad. So the racing here for Speedway in the United States, you rode in Europe, right?
Yeah.
Is it? I mean, completely 180 from what I've seen here than what I've seen on television. Is it completely different?
No, it's not 180 at all. It's just a bigger track normally, and your equipment plays a bigger role there. The ability is developed here. To be honest with you, if you can ride the little short tracks, tight, close racing, you have a huge advantage when you go to Europe.
Tracks like down in Costa Mesa and places that we've been before. Absolutely. That's where you guys were all groomed at or learned the craft to do it.
That's why we've developed so many world champions out of just Southern California.
How many think world champions from the U.S. are actually Speedway world? I mean, because if it's so big in Europe, I mean, there's a lot of Europeans, but is there a great number of Speedway racers that are world champions from the United States?
Well, Jack Milne was the first one in 1937.
Right.
And then Bruce Penhall won it in 1981.
Okay. And
then he won it again in 82. And then Billy Hamill won. I don't know what year Billy won. And then Sam Malenko won.
Right.
And then Greg Hancock won 4.
Hancock won 4. So he's won the most of them all.
He's won the most, and he's the most prolific Speedway rider basically in the world. To some point, definitely the most prolific American.
Met Craig. He's a real nice guy.
Oh,
he's a real nice guy. Kenny Roberts is a good, nice guy. I always thought I did an interview with Kenny, and somebody told me after, he said you needed to wait for Kenny to get about 4 vodka and cranberries in him, and he'll really talk then, But so let's talk real quick. We got a couple of minutes left in this. Racing to when you've seen it today, you've been in it longer than I have. I started covering racing back in 1988. First race I ever went to was in when Petty won his 200th, I think in 76 is when he won his 200th, right? My father, we were in Florida. He goes, "Hey, you want to go see these stock car guys run?" And we got some tickets through the hotel we were staying at. So we went and saw that. But I started covering it and then. And it's definitely changed. Racing has definitely changed. Is it change for the good? Is it change for the bad?
I don't know. It's hard to say. At least we still have racing. It's definitely changed, without a doubt. I mean, it used to be guys that built their own equipment, did their stuff by themselves. I mean, we were probably, honestly, when I was running the West Series, we were probably one of the last NASCAR teams that did everything in-house, including building their motors. That wasn't a giant organization. You know, we had 4 or 5 guys.
Right.
That were one guy full time.
Now, and even now today, you know what the thing of it is, the crew chief always got paid a lot of the money, the big money, right? But really, it's not anymore. It's the engineers now that are really making the bucks, especially with Formula One, IndyCar, and NASCAR.
I think the biggest problem, the biggest setback, it's turned into such a money game.
Right.
It's just, I mean, like they say, if you want to go run the Cup Series, bring $5 to $10 million.
You said
we don't care who you are.
Kyle Busch just did an interview 2 days ago, and they asked him, he said, how can you get into NASCAR's Cup Series? You know what Kyle Busch told him?
No.
He said, bring $6 million to the table, and Joe Gibbs will put you in a ride.
There you go.
That's exactly what he said. Yeah. I mean, it's on I'm not stating something that Kyle didn't say. It's on public record that he said it.
There are very few guys that come out of the talent pool that are just phenomenally talented. You know, the Kyle Larsons, people like that. You know, that didn't come from huge money.
No.
You know, I'm sure Tony Stewart didn't come from huge money.
No.
He came from talent.
Yeah, he did come. And Jeff Motley, his final appearance before he left and took his new job, he said this on the show. He said, you know, Alan, there are so many guys out there, young kids coming up and guys out there that have just as much talent as anything that you will see on the track on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, day, night, or whatever, that don't get a look because it all came down to the scratch. They haven't got, like Kyle Busch, you ain't got $6 million to hand Joe Gibbs and he'll put you in a car. Something else. You think it'll get better? You think things will switch around?
I don't know. It would be nice if it did, right? If they came up with a series that was just talent based.
Yeah.
You know,
I always said this: if SMI, Speedway Motorsports Incorporated, which has our track here, Charlotte, and all those, if they had a Talladega or a Daytona, game over.
Yeah,
I think it would be. I think it would really be game over because I think they would go back to where you were talking, where you actually worked with sheet metal, you actually welded, you built your motors, you put your transmission, your shock packages together, and that opened up. I was very happy to see that. I don't know if you caught this. F1 has been allowed a license to run Cadillac in 2026, which has opened up the door for Andretti Global, and he's already got a production car ready to go for NASCAR. So I hope this goes. And of course, we know now Dodge is going to go back into the truck series, 27 for Xfinity, and then possibility for a 2028.
Yeah, very cool.
What do you think of? Let me ask you this: what do you think about them running in the streets and baseball parks and football stadiums? And
me personally, I don't care if you're going to line up and race. Who cares where it is, right?
Okay.
You know, I mean, that's really what it is. And instead of a purpose-built stadium, there's some beautiful racetracks out there, but it's also kind of cool to go run a street course somewhere. I mean, we used to run the streets of LA. It was pretty cool.
It was neat to see. It was neat to see him back at Bowman Gray, which in Winston-Salem, which I came from. I mean, that place is packed every night. But everybody that I talked to, and Kyle Larson even said this in an interview we played on the show, that he said that place was absolutely. He raced there one time back in the ARCA East series. Back then, he rode there one time, and he said, we were told when we got there, this place is truly the madhouse. People will scream, they will yell, they will throw stuff. Drivers will fight, and people in the stands will fight. I mean, if you don't like the guy that I'm sitting next to, and you take him out, we're going to go at it before it's all.
What was racing built on? It was built on that, right?
Yeah.
Go back to the roots.
Yeah.
Go back to the stuff that made it popular instead of what it's evolved to.
Well, look at Allison and Yarborough down and banging off the backstretch.
That's what made NASCAR famous, right? It was on the first time on CBS, and there's a big fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Richard Petty just twiddled his way right on around the crowd and said, you all knuckle it out and we're done. Next event coming up, we got a date coming up for next year, I think towards the end of January or so.
It'll be the end of January. We haven't released the date yet.
Okay. Well, that's good. Bullring's back in action again.
Yep.
Our buddy Johnny Spilotro had another good weekend, another top 5 finish for Johnny. Man, he's
proud of him. Proud of him. He's doing that. Kid works hard.
He does.
He does work hard.
We got Johnny coming on the show next week. He's going to spend a half hour with us. He's going to come in and co-host with us next week and have a good time with us. I'm really happy for them. And Las Vegas, we'll leave on this. Las Vegas has really put out some really good racing people. I mean, we all know the Busch brothers. Right. And like Jeff said, it was Kurt really that opened the door for everybody. Kurt's the one that got the big national attention that opened up everything, and then Kyle just sort of fell along. But
there's before that, you have to look at how that door was opened too. Chris Trickle, with the unfortunate incident with Chris Trickle, Chris was on his way to becoming a NASCAR star, and when that incident happened, it opened the door for Kurt Busch.
For Kurt,
he got he got Chris's ride.
Yeah, he did. He absolutely, because he was on his way. He was on his way to do the test session and get certified with it because he'd run the touring series back then. Right. Of course, so he had that one other step to do. But yeah, that ride was going to him. And tragically, 23 years ago, Chris was killed and still haven't found out who it was. Go ahead.
No, I was saying it's all about timing, right?
Well, and there's guys like Dylan Kwasniewski. His dad was the guy that was the big PR guy over at the Hard Rocks and got that whole deal with Rockstar putting together. That kid had Jay Beasley, another good kid, won a championship out here. Right. He tried to develop a series, and he just didn't have good equipment up underneath him. And if you don't have you can have talent, but you got to have equipment too. I mean,
yeah, and then it's like, once again, it's all about money. There's a guy that raced at our Aaron McMoran, right? Phenomenal racer. I've raced him in go-karts. Just at my track. The guy's unbelievable. He's capable of winning in anything, but what can get him to that next step?
It's all about the money, my friend. It is all about the money.
Unfortunately, it is.
It is all about the money. Real quickly, we hear anything about that, about the Brendan Gaughan truck?
No, I'm actually waiting to hear back from Brendan about it. So see if it's something that he likes.
Yeah. We were looking at a couple things. Invite you to come down to the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame, everybody. If you come to Las Vegas, it's a 450 Fremont Street.
This is why.
Yeah, here are the shoes right there. Here, we can just do this here. I don't mind. We'll stick them right up there in the camera. Scratch does this all the time. He waves them around on camera.
So the reason the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame exists is number one, to get all of us together before somebody flies off, right? The real reason is it's a nonprofit. We give shoes away to the needy, and that's what we do. That's our purpose for getting together is to be able to give these shoes out. And they're called Heart Shoes, from the heart and soul of the motorcycle industry. And we help the needy.
You guys, we've been around at different missions here in Las Vegas. You've been up in California, Sacramento, and you actually took a group in what is known here. A lot of people don't. There's a thing called the tunnels here, and this is like tunnel systems that are underneath Las Vegas, and this is where a lot of the homeless people go to. And it is not a fun place.
It's not where you want to hang out.
Yeah, it's not a place. Yeah, you don't want to stop down there and ask them, if you got a cold beer or anything like that, or a soda. I mean, but you actually took a group down in there, and went into the tunnels.
Yeah, we, with yourself and Jerry Bernardo and Bob Pete, we go out there and we'll do our giveaways and help as many people as we can. We're getting ready to do one next month again too.
Are you? Good. 450 Fremont Street, if you'd like to come down. In fact, I'm going to do this real quickly before Gene pops out of here. Let me just do this. I'm going to throw the ticker across the bottom. If you would like to help us out, we do not take any money for this. We do not. Every bit, 100%, every dime goes into it. Gene himself actually financed this whole deal to get it started. And now things, we had a guy, 2 years ago, sent us, we still got 10 boxes of shoes back there. The guy just wrote a check out and said, and sent them. You didn't even order them. I remember I called you up and I said, you order shoes? And he goes, we got 10 boxes of shoes back there. And a gentleman wrote the check out. There's information that's scrolling across the screen right there. If you'd like to join in, just World Wide Web at hotshoeshof.com. There is a donate button, and this is totally 100% tax-free. If you happen to need, it's tax deductible for you. If you need any paperwork, just call down at the track 702-270-8100. Ask to speak to me, and I can email you a sheet. I got a very simple sheet. We'll send you. We've got little plastic laminates made that have the actual contact information on it, and we'll be more than happy to send that to you so that you can write it off. You'd be helping things out. And we also do a little kicker too. So if you donate $500 or $1,000, we'll throw them some spots on our television show here too, so to help the business along. Our special guest today, Mr. Gene Woods, racer, entrepreneur, businessman, founder of the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame. Thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy day. And soon you'll get down to Sunshine, Florida. Get down there. Scratch is waiting for you. He says first night he gets down there, you can't have Coca-Colas, but we'll get you a Diet Coke. And you guys, in fact, I just sent the information.
Some clam chowder.
Clam chowder and Millie's. Millie's.
There you go. Millie's is great.
Millie's is a good place, but I've already sent the information down to get everybody cleared at New Smyrna Speedway. So you guys can rock and roll. Gene was our special guest. Scratch and Diane will join us up next. We'll take a quick pause here. You're watching On Pit Road Racing Thursday afternoon show live from downtown Las Vegas, 450 Fremont Street. Come visit the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame and also come take some rides on some go-karts. 12,000 square foot indoor slide and drift track. It's the only one that's licensed in the state of Nevada. There might be a couple others out there in the U.S., but this is truly, truly a drift track. More of the show coming up right after this, everybody.
Are you ready for the wildest ride on Fremont Street? The Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience. 450 Fremont Street, suite number 171 on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street. Open 7 days a week, noon until midnight. Strap yourself in, pull your safety belts tight, and feel the power and the speed at the Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience, downtown Las Vegas, Fremont Street, 450 Fremont Street, suite number 171, right on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street. What are you waiting for? Log on, get your tickets now. It's time to go racing at the Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience, 450 Fremont Street, downtown Las Vegas.
Loving it. There they are. Got the hot shoes right there, buddy, with the scratch.
Mother right there.
There he is.
Yeah.
Something else, anybody? He is something else.
You know, hey, secret about these. I didn't get my racing shoes in time for my first race that I ordered. So I wore my heart shoes in my very first enduro race, and now and they're comfortable because they're comfortable and light, and I love them. And for the cause, I was like, man, these are what I'm gonna wear my first race back, and that's what I wore. So I actually wore them the first race that I raced back in the enduro car. But I like to kind of keep them clean and keep them out here so I can show everybody else. Maybe that'll help the cause. The hot.
Maybe I'll just send you another pair of them. You can have a pair for your spare pair for racing shoes and a pair to run around in. You know what I mean?
A pair for my feet and a pair I can show off on.
Yeah, man, for the scratch with the comedy tours and things like that. Hey, real quickly, welcome to On Pit Road Racing. We started off, that was recorded yesterday. It's Gene's birthday today. So I said, man, he agreed to do it. The end he goes, and I said, no, I don't want you to spend it. Go have time with your family and friends today out there. So he did the interview with us yesterday. Great guy. Come on down and check it out. Scratchy, he said he'd be down there probably right after NHRA. So get ready. You guys are going to eat clam chowder somewhere, and then you guys are going to Millie's, man.
I'll be looking for him, and that all sounds good, man. Gene's a great guy, man. I enjoyed that interview.
There you go. All righty, man. Hey, On Pit Road Racing right here at WCOBM Studios each and every Thursday. Starts off at 3 o'clock here on the West Coast, 6 o'clock back on the East Side. And we want to thank our show partners out there. Of course, the Gene Woods Racing Experience, 450 Fremont Street, Woods Family Sandwiches, the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame, Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Scratch, I just talked to Josh Hatchett today, buddy, and we are getting stacked and packed with the NHRA coming up in 2 weeks here. So get ready. The Skaggs Racing team is coming on board. I got Antron Brown ready to rock and roll with us, man. And Josh Hatchett himself, who's the executive vice president of media relations from the NHRA. So we'll get him ready to go. Red One Scooters and Hammer and Aries. Scratch, you get ready for around the track, and I got the weather ready to go. So let's do it. It's brought to you by Woods Family Sandwiches. They're located at 931 Pacific Suite 106 here in the Las Vegas, Henderson area. More information on catering, everybody, wfsandwiches.com. NASCAR weekend in Martinsville. Here's the big trick, Scratch. The rule in Martinsville is this: if it's sunny on Friday for qualifying, guaranteed it's going to be raining on Sunday. So here's what it looks like Friday and Saturday: mostly sunny skies, daytime high about 71, nighttime low about 46. And on Sunday, 40% chance of rain at the Paperclip with a daytime high about 74 for the green flag. NHRA's back in California at Panoma Dragway. That's the In-N-Out Burger, Panoma Dragway. Mostly sunny skies for the drag racers all weekend long at the Winter Nationals. Daytime highs up in the upper 70s, nighttime lows in the mid 50s. And for the World of Outlaws this weekend, man, the sprints are heading to Lawton, Oklahoma Friday night, where they've got 50% chance of rain there. But it's going to, Slimly, they say, is going to be working it out by the time green flag falls, about 73 degrees. The show moves to Park City, Kansas, to 81 Speedway, where they're looking really good for Saturday and Saturday night racing. It's all done about sunny skies, about 73. And dropping off into the low 50s out there. So that's a look at racing weather around the track, brought to you by our good friends at Woods Family Sandwiches. Scratch, where are they racing at this weekend, my friend? Tell us all about it.
Yes, sir. We got AMA Monster Energy Supercross number 10 in Seattle, Washington, March 29th at Lumen Field. Flat track racing Saturday, March 29th at Yamaha Sanoa Short Track at Sanoa Raceway in Sanoa, Georgia. Speedway East Coast Champion Speedway, May 3rd, Spring Classic. Action Park East, May 24th, Outlaw Nationals Round 1. West Coast Industry Hill Speedway, March 29th. Paris Raceway, April 20th. That's the opener. Fast Fridays in Auburn starts at May 19th. Costa Mesa 55th year starts April 12th. Formula One, April 4th through 6th, the Japanese Grand Prix. IndyCar, April 13th. Acura Grand Prix at Long Beach, California. Love Long Beach. In the streets of Long Beach out there. That'll be a fun time. NHRA, March 27th through the 30th, the Lucas Oil NHRA Winter Nationals, the In-N-Out Burger, Panoma Drag Strip in Panoma, California. NOS Energy Series, March 28th, Lawton Speedway, and they will be at March 29th at 81 Speedway. NOS Outlaw Late Model Series, April 4th and 5th at Atomic Speedway, or Atomic, probably. NASCAR back in action. The ARCA West is April 5th. Tucson Speedway, ARCA East, April 19th at Rockingham, North Carolina. The trucks, they're the Boys and Girls Club of Blue Ridge 200 is Friday, March 28th. The Xfinity Series Saturday, March 29th. The Marine Corps 250, also at Martinsville Speedway. The Cup Series is Sunday. The Cookout 400 Martinsville Speedway, and I'm going to be racing my enduro car at Ocala Speedway this Saturday night. That's a look around the track, and I'm sure I'll be looking around the track when I go to
You got it all fixed and ready to go, man. We'll talk about that new car, and we'll talk about the new car you picked up at the end of the show today. Hey, our next special guest is standing by. Mickey Gentili is on the line right there. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to go race around the country with Mickey. We're going to do it all coming up, everybody, in just about 60 seconds right here on Pit Road Racing. Alan here in Las Vegas, Scratch with a K down in Daytona at the Nut Shack Studios there. We're back in 60 seconds, everybody.
Jerry B here up in Sacramento, Union Gospel Mission, giving out some shoes to the homeless here. A lot of smiling faces. We got one deal. We give you a pair of shoes. You got to give us a smirk and a photo. And this is the mission of the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame, which is a non-profit organization based out of Las Vegas, started by Gene Woods. We're trying to do good things and fill little holes in people's lives the best we can. And today we're up in Sacramento, just doing the best we can. Thanks for supporting us.
That's Jerry B right there, man. I'm loving it. I'm liking it. How's the weather? How's the weather in Florida, Scratch? Is it good today?
Yeah, man. It's like 72 degrees out there right now, man. It's nice.
It's nice. Yeah, it's beautiful here, man. We were approaching. They actually said we had a shot of going at 100 degrees here today, but I don't think it's going to get that high. I don't. All right.
Really?
All right. We got him. So we got him lined up. He's standing right there at the bottom of the screen, man. This is the owner operator of Mickey Racing from Perth, New York. Mickey Gentili, welcome on Pit Road Racing, my friend. And the first thing that we always ask you, started off, man, tell us how you got involved with racing and how your racing career is going. It's all you. Good afternoon, sir.
God bless you, boys. Let me tell you one thing. You guys got the greatest show in racing. Scratch with a K, Mr. Fox. I mean, you guys got it rocking and rolling. And Mickey's all about that. You know what I mean? But I was a wrestler in high school, 98 pound, and when I was a kid, the Dinisini family, I had a real good buddy of mine, and we built this wooden cart, and I was the smallest kid in the neighborhood, and we ran that sucker down the street, and then I raced go-karts, and then life took me on a journey. I got a 70 Camaro, rode around town. And, back in the 70s, I graduated in 1976, a little bit before your time, Scratch. You know what I mean? you know. And so life took me on a journey, and I got out of racing and I had a career. I did things, and I had a beautiful flower for 40 years, and she gone, upstairs.
Right.
And so then I was like, well, what Mickey gonna do, And you get one angel in life, Mr. Fox.
Okay.
And I said, man, I'm going to get back into racing. And I went down to Birmingham, Alabama, and got my SCCA certification, and I'm racing. You know what I mean? I just got this in the mail today. My SCCA full competition license. So, I just looking for rides. You know what I mean? Like the last guest said, it's a biz. You know what I mean? Making those biz. But, you gotta keep working it, man. And it's fun. I mean, I meet the greatest people in racing. I mean, the pit crews, I could put together a team, you know what I mean? With all the people I know. And I was in charge.
So to get to it here real quickly. So what are you running now? What kind of cars are you running now?
I run with Flat Out Motorsports sometimes in Mass. And then I got Casey Corden down in Atlanta, who has, but it's mostly Porsche and Mazda Miatas. And I was certified at Birmingham, Barber Motor Speedway at the Porsche Center. And that's like the gold standard for racing. You know what I mean? In my opinion, And so that's how I did that in 22. And then in 23, I started. And then, it's just all about, keep kicking it, and I'll race. My daughter said, Daddy will race anything with an engine, and I started the same way as the Lucas boy, with mini bikes and dirt bikes. And after Mickey can't do it no more, I got medical till I'm 67, you know what I mean? 2 years, 60, I'll be 68 actually. Okay. It'll be 2027. So I'm 60, I'm old school, All right. And I grew up in Pennsylvania in Royersford, shout out. Okay. And you know what I mean? And Mario Andretti was my idol. And back in the day, we had Trans Am racing at Watkins Glen. It ended in 70. And I was 11 years old,
Okay, let me get Scratch get a question in for you. Okay, bud. There you go. Scratch got a question for Mickey.
Yeah, man. Anybody ever call you Mickey G? That was one of the questions I had right off the bat.
They all call me.
You just seem like a Mickey G kind of guy.
They call me Mickey Blue Eyes.
Mickey Blue Eyes, right on. Right on. So you race SCCA then? Is that correct? Yeah,
that's
man.
Exactly right. Yeah,
I've been to a couple of SCCA races. I've never done it, but I've been to a couple of SCCA races. Those are pretty cool, man.
I mean, they SCCA people don't realize, when they had Formula One in Vegas, SCCA guys are all over. You know what I mean? I raced Watkins Glen, Barber Motor Speedway, New Hampshire, and New Hampshire is Jackie Stewart. It's a great day for racing here in New Hampshire, and that's what I'm into, man. You dig? And
I hear you.
Yeah, and it's all peace.
So what's coming up? So what's coming up next for you? I mean, are you on a circuit right now? Are you running a circuit right now? You got racing coming up in the next couple of weeks?
I'm working on a Porsche team right now, and I'm looking to put together a Porsche team. So I got connections, and that's my next level is Porsche.
Okay, you want to go to Porsche?
And I call it zippity doo-dah racing. You know what I mean? And basically,
do you have a goal? So do you have a goal?
You ain't seen zippity doo-dah racing till you've seen the shit I do.
I know. Dirt tracks. We got Fonda here.
I'm doing one dirt. I'm not any good on dirt. I'm about to race on dirt though this weekend.
Dirt is cool.
But I'm doing these tour destructions, and it's like that full contact racing. It's like what you do, but we run into each other.
I mean, as Mr. Fox knows, like the 8-track, we used to have the 8, you know what I mean? Right. And
figure 8 racing. Okay.
Yeah, well, they do that at these tours.
And that was cool. And I never did any of that, but I'll race anything with an engine. Anybody, I'll race dirt track. I'll race anything. You know what I mean? But I don't own the car. I'm just a talented driver. And
in my aspect, I spend more time working on it than racing it.
Well, that's the way the biz is,
Yeah, that's my kind of
Mickey ain't owning a car, When I was at Barber, they go, Mickey, you can break the record. I was a minute 35. The pros were a minute 30. It was 100 degrees. And I go, boys, it's 100 degrees out there. There's oil everywhere. They go, Mickey, just go faster. Go faster. Well, I didn't have a $500,000 to write a check. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what it takes nowadays. That's it. So is your ultimate goal? You're looking to go to Porsche next. So is your thing is you want to get into stuff like running the Rolex, doing Sebring?
I want to get into Formula One as the oldest race car driver in the world. I mean, these two guys here.
There you go. There you go.
And I could drive and give you 20. You dig?
Right.
My dad was served in World War II in Korea, and he say, "Mickey, drive and give me 20." You know, and I was co-captain of a wrestling team, and it takes you got to be a gladiator. You know what I mean on racing. You know what I mean? And,
Mickey the mullet.
hey,
Mickey the mullet. Ah.
Hey, it's business in the front and party in the back, Scratch.
Mickey got about a minute and a half left to go on this right now. Let me ask you, give us out social media where they can contact you at, if the sponsors, everything else.
On LinkedIn, Mickey Gentili on LinkedIn. I have a lot of people on LinkedIn. I have over 5,000 followers, and then that's where I meet all my racing people. And then I have a foundation for St. Bonaventure University, an endowment, and I give $2,500 away. 4 years guaranteed for the kid with a work ethic. And I'm trying to bring back the work ethic in America. Mickey worked through high school to pay through college. You know, I graduated in 1980, St. Bonaventure, and and that's a big deal to me. And so 10 grand for a kid. I know it's not a lot of money today, but it's something. And university, we give it to the kid, and they can be any major. They can have any grade point average. It's not based on that. You have to prove you worked 9th, 10th, 11th grade summers. And if you did, you get the coin. That's how it works. So you can white Irish ass because you ain't going to get a nickel. You know what I mean?
There you go. Mickey Gentili there for us, back from the East Coast, racing around the country, man. We thank you for your time, man.
Rock on and hang loose, Scratch.
All righty, buddy. Have a good one. Scratch and I'll be back. We've got all the racing news and notes coming up for you next. Thank you, Mickey. Appreciate it, buddy. We'll see you.
Are you ready for the wildest ride on Fremont Street? The Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience. 450 Fremont Street, suite number 171 on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street. Open 7 days a week, noon until midnight. Strap yourself in, pull your safety belts tight, and feel the power and the speed at the Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience. Downtown Las Vegas, Fremont Street, 450 Fremont Street, suite number 171, right on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street. What are you waiting for? Log on, get your tickets now. It's time to go racing at the Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience, 450 Fremont Street, downtown Las Vegas.
Like them East Coast guys, man.
Yeah, man. Mickey G, baby.
Mickey G, there you go, man. He had the mullet, he had it all, didn't he?
Yeah, man. That's my kind of dude, man. I'd hang out with that dude.
You gotta hang out with him? He seems like he'd be a cool dude to got cold beer with, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
All righty. Alton Michaels live here in Las Vegas, Scratch with the K at the Nutshot Studios down in Daytona Beach, Florida, man. Let's get it kicked underway. We'll get it started off with, let's get with NASCAR results and all that. I'll pull my stuff out, Scratch. You get yours ready to go. The segment brought to you by the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, LVMS.com. Next event coming up out there, everybody's going to be the NHRA 4-Wide Nationals at the Strip, April 11th through the 14th. NASCAR returns back to the Speedway, the round of 8, the South Point 400 coming up for you October 10th, 11th, and 12th. Tickets for all the events out there. Tickets for all the events out there at LVMS.com. Scratch, start us off with the trucks, buddy. Tell us all about it, my friend.
Yeah, man. Well, the pole was won by Corey Heim, and the race was won by Kyle Larson. It was the Baptist L 200 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race at Homestead Miami Speedway. It took place Friday night. The win was his first of the season, first at Homestead, and fourth career Truck Series win. Lane Riggs finished second. Corey Heim. I keep wanting to call him Corey Haim. Corey Heim, he was third. The truck standings as of right now, the point standings is Corey Haim is in first. Ty Majeski is in second. Chandler Smith is in third. Grant Empfinger's fourth. Stuart Friesen is fifth. Tyler Ankrum is sixth. Daniel Hemrick is seventh. Lane Riggs is eighth. Jake Garcia is ninth. Caden Honeycutt is 10th, and outside the top 10, Ben Rhodes, Tanner Gray, Gio Regario, Matt Crafton, and Matt Mills.
You got it. Making a last lap pass. The number 7, Justin Allgaier, won the Hard Rock Bet 300, the Xfinity race at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Second straight victory of the season, and his first top 5 finish in 17th career Homestead starts. Allgaier also received a $100,000 bonus in the Xfinity Dash for Cash program. It was Sam Mayer, Austin Hill, Kyle Larson, who was looking to start the sweep, but wouldn't get it for the Xfinity Series, followed by Sheldon Creed, your top 5. After the 6 of 33 events, here's how it looks. It's Allgaier up front with 2 wins. He's got 12 playoff points and regular season championship leader at the current time. Austin Hill and the number 21 machine's got 1 win, 9 playoff points. Jesse Love. Dan, I'm telling you, Scratch, Jesse is still cooking it, buddy. He is still cooking it. He's locked in, got a win, 5 playoff points. Then you got Connor Zinlich. He's in there with a win, 5 playoffs. Then you're going to break it down to Sam Mayer in 6. Then it's going to be Sheldon Creed, Sammy Smith, Ryan Sieg, Taylor Gray, Harrison Burton, Jeb Burton, the Burton boys back-to-back 10th and 11th, along with Brendan Jones. Sitting outside the line on the cutoff currently right now, it's Carson Guapo, Nick Sanchez, Daniel Dye, and Christian Eckes. That is something hard to believe. Christian Eckes, Scratch, has been, last 2 years, has been tearing stuff up. I just don't know what's with the car this year, but currently standing in the 16th, and you got all the stuff from the Cup boys, man. Let's talk about it.
Yes, sir. Alex Bowman, he won the Busch pole for the Straight Talk Wireless 400 NASCAR Cup Series race at the Homestead Miami Speedway with a speed of 168.845 miles per hour for his first pole of the year. First at Homestead and 6th career, but 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Kyle Larson, he got the win in Homestead to pick up his first win of the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series season. Ryan Blaney, who led 126 laps and was strong all day long. It looked like he was the one to beat, but with 60 laps to go, Blaney's Ford Mustang blew up. He blew a motor. So that's twice in 2 weeks. Rolling down, the fight went on and off with Kyle Larson, Bubba Wallace, Alex Bowman. Wallace's car faded, and with just under 15 laps to go, the 2 Hendrick cars would go at it. So Larson's Chevy was just too strong. And the top 10, Kyle Larson, Alex Bowman, Chase Briscoe, Denny Hamlin, Chris Buescher, AJ Allmendinger, Tyler Reddick, Ryan Preece, Justin Haley.
You got it. I'm just saying, you know what? I put some notes together for us, our chat topics, and I'm just going to, and we'll get right back because we're sort of off the format today anyhow. But right. I'm talking about a clinic. Kyle Larson just put on a clinic Sunday, Scratch. I mean, really, the whole weekend long, went in the truck race, like you said, finished up in 4th in the Xfinity, then shot up. Now, here he goes. But what a lot of people didn't realize, then he shots over and goes and runs a dirt race, wins that over at Kern County, then comes back and wins again on Sunday. And it wasn't easy for him because early in the race, Larson's car got tagged. They jam a hole up in the right front. So Larson does the thing. He does the old Dale Jarrett. I'm just going to get the hell out of the road. My car's not beat up too bad. So let me just get out of the way here, save my car, don't get it tore up anymore, and kept it close. Great pit calls, great execution from the team. And until that point, like you said, it was Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin, and Alex Bubba. Well, Bubba burned his tires up, and Denny just faded. With 20 to go, that's when he made the move. And I'm just telling you, all around clinic, man, that he closed when it got down to 15 to go, 8 car lengths, and closed it that quick. I don't know, Scratch. I keep pushing this horse, but tell me somebody else that's in a race car right now that's got that much talent that can do what he can do. Tell me, is there anybody?
Well, I don't know, but I can tell you, I mean, that's all around you're talking about right there. Yeah. But I mean, Christopher Bell's kind of showing, at least in the Cup car, that he might be able to, he can give him a run for his money, at least in that. So I don't know. Yeah, he's great. I saw all that. I was surprised that he didn't sweep the whole weekend, to be honest with you. I didn't get to watch the Cup race because I was working on my enduro car, but I did check the lineup throughout the race, and I kind of felt like, especially after what happened to Blaney, that maybe Bubba was going to have the opportunity to really win. But yeah, like he burned up his tires, so that was into that. Yeah. But yeah, man, Kyle Larson, in my opinion, he was overdue for this year.
I'm just telling you. And a bad break for Blaney. It really was. It was a bad break. Super fast forward, total handling, grip, everything. I mean, the thing was it was a rockin' hot rod. He wins stage 1, top 3 in stage 2, has great pit stops, no hiccups at all. Leads 126 laps of the race, and 60 to go. The motor blows. Like you said, 3 weeks in a row, actually, he's out because at Coda, he blows a motor. Here in Las Vegas, he gets tied up into an early wreck that takes him out. Then he goes this week and blows up another motor there. I don't know. It's a rough start. What does Blaney and the team need to do, buddy?
I don't know. But he's sitting, he's sitting at he was a champion 2 years ago, and right now he's sitting at 11th in the points. But we talked about this about several drivers already. Kyle Larson was one of them too.
Yeah.
Hey, a win changes all that. A win changes all that. So that's what he's got to. That's what he's got to do. He's got to win because a win changes everything.
Well,
it doesn't really. You win, you're in pretty much. So
you're in. Yeah, you're in.
And he's going to win. He's not going. I'm David Blaney. That's funny. That shows my age. Ryan Blaney. He's not going to not win. He's going to win a race.
He's going to win.
He'll get. I feel confident he'll get in. So just bad luck. Not everybody has good luck every race.
How about this?
I don't have any.
How about this? Let's talk a little bit about what Kyle Busch keeps having. He keeps having the ups and down runs this year. 2 good weeks in a row. Phoenix cars junk. Teammate Austin Dillon had a good. You know what? They really commentated an MRN. MRN had. The coverage that MRN gives. And I mean, this is a radio broadcast, and I mean, the team was so on it this week. They really were, Scratch. They were so on it that you were actually listening to the broadcast, and if you closed your eyes, it was so good that they put the images right into your brain. It was so good.
That's good radio when you're listening to sports.
How about RFK? Ryan Priest, 2 weeks in a row. I mean, this guy's starting. Now, we did an interview. We did the Snake Pit interview with Ryan after the race here in Las Vegas. It blew up. But I mean, he's having a good push in the 17 cars. Brad Kay's still looking, buddy. Brad Kay's having a tough time. What do you think?
Yeah, I would say he is. And then you were talking about Kyle Busch. I mean, Kyle Busch is outside the top 16, and he was up there for a little bit. I forget, like top 6 or something for a few races, a couple races there. Yeah. So he's kind of dropped off.
I mean, the cars they're building good. They're building good cars for everybody there. Henry or Richard Childress Racing RCR is building good cars. I mean, they're building kick-ass cars for Jesse Love. Austin had a really good car this week. He had a really.
But there's a difference in being one of the top dogs in the Xfinity Series and being, being kind of a setback. Richard Childress Racing isn't what it used to be.
No, it's not.
No offense to them because I kind of like them a little bit, but at the same time, it's easier to be a top tier team in the Xfinity Series.
I always hope that that's where I wanted Dale Jr. to go. When Dale Jr. broke up after his dad, after the passing and DEI pretty much went to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah.
I was hoping that Dale Jr. would sign with Childress. I really did. I thought he would. I think that if he'd have got there, I think he'd have got a championship there. I really do. I don't know the whole stories on everything. I saw what I saw.
Yeah.
And I watched what I watched, and it just didn't seem like. I don't know. I just think that I don't think he had the equipment. He had equipment to win, which he did win at Hendrick. He had the equipment, but there was just something lagging. There was something lagging, and I think that if he would have went to Childress, I think he would have stacked everything behind him. I really do. I think Dale Jr. had a great career. He didn't win a championship. He had a good career.
Yeah, for sure.
But it is. I don't know.
Hey, listen, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with being a lifetime Xfinity Series racer. Not saying we're talking about Dale Jr. I'm just talking about in general.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with being, if you were a 7-time Xfinity Series champion or runner-up or something in those ranges, there's nothing wrong with racing. Man, race where you're good, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, race where you're good. Matt Crafton made a.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that.
He's had a hell of a living being a truck racer his whole career.
And I don't think he's ever wanted to do any. I really don't think. In fact, I asked him one time, if of course, if you have the money and you have this, and somebody offers you the ride, you're just going to. But he's told me on a couple of occasions that I got to talk to Matt that he's happy where he's at. He loves running the trucks. He loves the competition there. So
look, Ron Hornaday, Jack Sprague, those are all guys that, had no problems flirting with other series.
Right.
But home was the truck series. That was home. So,
I interviewed Tony Stewart. I interviewed Tony Stewart last year and Matt Hagan together at the track. Tony Stewart told everybody. There's about 6 or 7 reporters. We were all sitting there. We got a one-on-one with Tony and Matt both. Tony said, in my racing career, I've never been happier. Now he's got to worry still. He's got to worry about the bills and everything else. But as far as his racing career goes, he said, man, I love driving that alcohol dragster. I love it. It's fun. I enjoy being at the track now that he's, him and Leah are married. Now they've got little smoke, but he said, this has been the funnest time of my racing career. The IndyCar stuff was great. NASCAR stuff was great, but all the responsibilities for sponsorships and personal appearances and this and that. Tony feels like he can get up in the morning, get in the truck or get on his plane, get to the track, get into a SUV or wherever, and get to the track and have fun. And then he says, I get to race and be around. I'm with my family now, not only with Leah, but he's got his new young son, Dominic. And I thought the way to see Tony's face that day, Scratch, you could tell that a big pressure had been taken off of his thing. I just don't know if the whole thing with NASCAR got so old for him and owning the team and all the stuff that they had to go through. But he said, man, coming to the racetrack now, I'm having a ball. I'm having a ball.
That's important. And speaking of what you were saying about Junior, it just reminded me that Elliott Sadler did that. You know what I mean? He had a long Cup career and then went to the Xfinity Series and finished out his full-time career.
Morgan Shepherd, God bless Morgan Shepherd. He ran for probably 5-6 years past his prime, long time. But he ran successfully in Cup. Not a great super championship career, but he was there every week, had a shot, and then he backed down to Xfinity racing to keep his going as long as NASCAR kept giving him a license, he was going to run.
Hey, he was in there, he, like you said, maybe not a championship career or a great career, had a good career. But it was one of the names I knew growing up as a kid. I knew who Morgan Shepherd was growing up. Yeah.
He drove that 21 car for the Woods brothers there for a while too, if I'm not mistaken.
For quite a while, he was for quite a while he drove that. Like he was one of the, if I remember right, he drove it for quite a while, but I don't remember how long exactly. But yeah, that's one of the cars I know him in for sure.
Couple other quick chat notes for you, Scratch. Fox Sports Bob Procris report that Hooters has agreed to pay Hendrick $900,000. This is all about a sponsorship on Chase Elliott's car, Scratch. They owed him. Hooters owed Hendrick $1,705,000 for unpaid sponsorships last year, so they're going to give it to him.
Lucky.
IndyCar racing real quickly. 2 in a row, man. Alex Palou, Chip Ganassi racing. This is sort of surprise, too, because Team Penske hasn't found it yet. 3 drivers currently sitting in the standings at 7th, 9th, and 14th. The month of May is coming right around. Could this be Chip Ganassi's year? I mean, come on. We know Penske has dominated. He dominated Rolex, right? He won at Sebring, right? His car's run at Sebring, and he's been a master at Indy. What do you think? Can this be Chip Ganassi's year?
Well, Chip Ganassi's capable of winning races too, so, but Penske's just dominant right now. Listen, I don't want to speculate that it could be his year, but he's capable of, he's won plenty of races in his own, but man, show up and show me.
I mean, when it comes down to Penske, yeah. But
show up and show me, because right now Penske just is what's going on.
Well, maybe he's going to get tuned in. Maybe he's going to get tuned in here because, I mean, Ganassi's IMSA program is just rolls. I mean, it rolls. It really does. Lewis Hamilton had been disqualified from the Chinese Grand Prix after a rear skid block on the Ferrari was found underneath the minimum thickness requirement of technical regulations, meaning that both the team drivers will lose their results. And given Charles Leclerc has also been disqualified for a car weight breach. Tough start for the former champ, man. He's not, I knew it was going to be tough for Lewis Hamilton. I knew it was. What do you think?
I didn't think it was, but you were right. But that's because you have more knowledge in that style racing than I do for real. Because I thought it might be an easy transition and everything would work out just fine and it wouldn't skip a beat.
No big runaway from Max B yet. Season's young, though. A win's just around the corner. I mean, you might not like him, man, but he can win. Want to talk real quickly, man. I didn't get a chance because it got rained out on the night that they were here that I was going to go to the Kubota High Limit Series. This is the new thing with Brad Sweet, Kyle Larson, and Christopher Bell all put together. First one out here, an 18-year-old kid spanked everybody. Connor Day. Remember that name. Connor Day. 18-year-old kid. He spanked them, Scratch. He spanked them all. And also wanted to let you know, I don't know if you're a big fan, Casey Kane returns back this weekend. He returns to Martinsville this weekend in a Cup car. What do you think?
That's exciting.
I like Casey Kane, man.
Yeah, I feel like I mean, maybe I don't know how he's going to do, but I'm hoping for the best. But it's cool. I felt like he was somebody that left a little too early.
I do too.
To be honest with you. I mean, I don't know about still being there today if he would have stayed. I don't know if that would be happening, but yeah, I think he was a guy I always felt like left a little too early, man. He can still race too, man. He can still drive, so we'll see.
He's slinging that dirt team pretty good, buddy. He's slinging that dirt team pretty good.
Yeah, I know. I've seen a little bit of that, and Casey Mears, he's going to run that 66 car that they decided they weren't going to let Mike Wallace drive in the 500. If you remember that, the 66, the one. So, man, the 66 team is just going and picking anybody that used to race these days, right?
I believe that's Carl Long's team. I think that's who that is. Yeah, it's Carl Long's team.
You remember one time at Charlotte that he sold his car to DW?
I don't know. You got the story. Tell us. We got some time.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure it was at Charlotte, but there was one time that DW didn't make a race or something like that, and I want to say it was Western Auto was on the car, but it was the 66, but it was because he didn't make the race, so he drove the 66 with Western Auto on it so he could get the points for some reason or keep a streak or. I don't know. There was something. I don't remember the whole story. I have to research it and let you guys know because, but I remember something about that because I remember I told you I couldn't stand Darrell Waltrip, so that was just one of the things I was mad about back then is the fact that you just bought your way in, man. Come on, man. So I just remember that being. I want to say it was a race I was at. So I'm gonna do the research. I'll find out. I'll have the answer for you next Thursday on that.
All right. I don't know if you caught this, man. Ron Capps in his Toyota Nitro Funny car took a wild ride in Phoenix past weekend. Capps in the opening rounds makes the run just a little over halfway down the track. The car blows up. I mean, did you check the video on it? I mean, it blew the damn body completely off of this thing.
It's amazing, man. It's
unbelievable. Crazy. Capps then was started in, and actually, if you look at it, he was in the right lane. They do it sort of like how theater is. The right lane is actually the left is actually the right. But anyhow, the car took off, crossed over the center lane like a rocket, almost hits the other gentleman, the other racer, shoots across again. Unbelievable. Smacks the wall. The parachutes come out, but they don't inflate. And he's running close to 300 mile an hour. And if you watch it, you can see this on NHRA.com, race friends. Those C Caps take the hit that he took and then gets out and walks out of the car. Walks away from it. Now, after he gets out, after he gets out, you can see if you watch the video, he's breathing a little bit, and he's, I got to get the bugs scrambled around here. Post-race interview, he said he knew he was going to hit hard. He had no control of the car. He said all he could do was brace himself and hold on. He said, he thought he was going to get knocked out. He thought that hit so hard it was going to knock him out. Capps credited his team safety, the safety Savari people, all the safety features, Simpson, and safety equipment from Simpson and his Simpson and his chassis builder. He said if the guy hadn't built the chassis, he could have killed him. Ron Capps, buddy, blew the hell out of that thing.
Yeah, well, thankful.
NHRA's coming in. NHRA's coming in 2 weeks. I had lunch with Ron Capps 2 years ago. You want a good funny story?
Sure.
Diane and I were sitting there. We were at one of the local restaurants where they held this at. And Diane and I were sitting at the table. We had Jeff Motley was sitting there with us. Ron Capps was with us. Antron Brown was sitting there. I was trying to think who else was at the table. Well, Ron Capps had flown with the Thunderbirds here. He had flown with them. Well, Antron flew that morning, or it was actually the day before. And Ron Capps told him, Antron, don't eat anything. Very light. Something very light at all, just a little in your stomach. That's it. Antron didn't listen. He went down, hit the buffet. He said they pulled that plane up, man. He said after that first barrel roll, man, here she comes. He grabbed for the bag, man. And Ron Capps said, Antron, I tried to tell you. And so I looked over at Antron and I said, I've been told here about what you guys go through and, what you guys are going through in the dragsters and the funny cars. You're ripping the throttle and it shoves you back into the seat and you feel like your body's being squished and you lose a bunch of weight and then the chutes come out, the car drags. I said, what the heck? I said, you don't eat a full breakfast when you run a drag car, do you? And he goes, no. I said, well, what would make you want to eat a full breakfast when you're getting up there with them crazy pilots flipping around at whatever, 5-6G, whatever they do? Yeah. Anyhow, he got to the bag. So there was no cleanup in the plane. But he said he learned his lesson on that. It was funny. You had to hear Ron Capps describe everything the way. You had to hear Ron tell it. Ron tell it, and Antron answering the questions the way he went with it. Hey, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, let's talk. What do you want to talk next? You want to talk Formula One? You want to talk IndyCar? You want to talk NHRA? What would you like to talk about?
Man, I want to talk about whatever you want to talk about.
All right, well, we'll do it.
Let's go. You know what? I'll tell you what. Let's go NHRA next. That's kind of what we were just talking about a little bit. So let's just go into that, man.
All right, let's do it. On Pit Road Racing Live, the WCOVM Allen here in Las Vegas, Scratch at the Nutchuck Studios in Daytona Beach. We're back in 1 minute, everybody.
Are you ready for the wildest ride on Fremont Street? The Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience. 450 Fremont Street, suite number 171 on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street. Open 7 days a week, noon until midnight. Strap yourself in, pull your safety belts tight, and feel the power and the speed at the Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience, downtown Las Vegas, Fremont Street, 450 Fremont Street, suite number 171, right on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street. What are you waiting for? Log on, get your tickets now. It's time to go racing at the Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience, 450 Fremont Street, downtown Las Vegas.
Hold on a second, Scratch. Here you go. You ready? Here it comes. You wanted to talk NHRA, right? Here it is.
Oh, we got sound effects.
There you go. That's what it's going to sound like at the Strip in 2 weeks, buddy. We're talking about 4. Here you go. One more time. Here it is.
One more?
One more. Line them up. Now, I want to tell you something about that clip. The first clip you heard was just 2. Okay? The first clip you just heard was just 2. That second clip, that's 4 of them, buddy. That's 11,000 horsepower times 4 coming off the line.
It sounds great.
I'm ready. I love it. I can't wait to get there. I love it. Nitro, burning, smelling, fuels, rocketing. Here's another thing. And we'll talk the NHRA. Did you see last Bob Tasca? Oh, man, Bob Tasca and Tony Stewart wrote a press that Fox came out and said that IndyCar is the fastest motorsport in the world. It ain't faster than NHR. Hey, buddy.
No.
No. Oh, man, you got to go see this clip, too. It's on the NHRA. It's on the NHRA. Said Bob Tasca's just and the thing about it is Fox is covering it, right? And they just ripped him. I mean, ripped him. How dare you?
Yeah, that is crazy, though. But, yeah, of course, it's not the fastest. NHRA by far is the fastest.
Segment brought to you by our good friends at Hammer and Harry's, 450 Fremont Street. They're open daily, 11 a.m. to 10. Great food, fun times, and home of the $5 margarita. Tell us all about it, man. You got it right there.
Yeah, man. You can check them out at hammeredharrys.com/Fremont Street. Wherever he went and for whomever he tuned, the world was a better place with Bernie Federer in it. The multi-world championship winning crew chief passed away March 15th and is remembered by his friends and family. Here are the results from the NHRA Mission Foods Arizona Nationals. Top Fuel, Sean Langdon. Funny Car, Paul Lee. Pro Stock, Greg Anderson. Pro Stock MC of this week. Point standings is Sean Langdon, Paul Lee, Greg Anderson, and Gage Herrera.
Yeah, pro motorcycles come back at Panoma, then they'll be here in Las Vegas. They had the week off. Don't know what's happened to Erica Anderson. Not even in the top 10. Not even in the top 10. Well, you know, when she gets here, she's dominated this track out here in Pro Stock. That whole new Skaggs team. Sean Langdon leading the top. Paul Lee up in there.
A win changes everything.
Yeah, Wade, you're absolutely right. Don't forget, race friends, that the NHRA comes to Las Vegas round number 1 of the four wide nationals. April 11th through the 14th. Then they go, you know what's really cool about this, Scratch? They're going to run them here, then they got a week off, and they travel and go to Charlotte. They're going to run 2 rounds of 4 wide. They run around here, 4 wides, and they go to Charlotte where 4 wide started. So they'll run them there. Tickets for both events are at NHRA.com. Diane's got us lined up, Scratch. We're going to be talking some drag racing coming up here in 2 weeks. I mean, we're going to be talking a bunch of it.
I'll have to brush up on my drag racing then.
Drag racing. There you go. How about I go, you get yourself ready for the World of Outlaws, and while you do that, I'll go ahead and give everybody a rundown on the Formula One and Indy stuff. How about that?
Sounds fantastic.
All right. Segment brought to you by our partners at Atlanta Motorsports Park. For more information, 678-381-8527, AtlantaMotorsportsPark.com. They are the country club of motorsports. IndyCar heads into its second event of 2025. Well, actually, the third event coming up in Long Beach at the Acura Grand Prix. Hello goes 2 for 2 at the Thermal Club in Thermal, California. Beautiful place, man. You got to have a lot of money to go there and live there. And if you do, then you can actually race on their track. Alex Blow was the winner. Patty Ward up in third, and Kristen Newgarden up in third. Points right now. It's Blow, Ward, and Scott Dixon. Scott Dixon, what? Here we go. There's 2 Ganassis. 2 Ganassis up front right there, Pelot and Dixon. F1. First stop Chinese here. Oscar Pistorius, Lando Norris, and George Russell. Norris leads the points. Max V is up in second. George Russell sits in third. Next stop for the F1 guys is going to be in Japan. So they're staying in the Far East for a couple of weeks, Scratch. So they'll be racing over there.
Right on.
You know, we'll see if Lewis Hamilton in the dance, as Johnny Spilotro would say, the dancing red ponies. That's the Ferraris. All right. You want to talk a little bit of World of Outlaws? Talk to him.
Yeah, man. Racing news from the dirt. This segment is brought to you by Gene Woods Racing Experience, 450 Fremont Street, Las Vegas. It's Las Vegas's only true indoor drift track, and I personally have a victory there, so I love the place. The greatest show on dirt hit the Lone Star State, and a doubleheader weekend at the Cotton Bowl. Here's a look at the results from Friday night's racing action. David Gravel finished first. Michael Kofoid was second. Carson Macedo was third. At Saturday, the racing was action-packed at the Cotton Bowl, with David Gravel breaking the track record, and he goes for 2 for 2 at the Cotton Bowl. This was his 5th win of the 2025 season and stand on top of the leaderboard. So David Gravel, Mike Kofoid, Sam Herfatepe Jr. was third. I know I didn't say that right. Here is a look at the point standings after the weekend in Texas. David Gravel, Carson Macedo, and Logan Schuchart. Racing news from the dirt. This segment brought to you by one of my favorite places in Las Vegas, the Gene Wood Racing Experience, 450 Fremont Street. The only true indoor drift track in Las Vegas.
Yeah, he's got a victory here. He did. It's all right, buddy. Your time will come. Trust me. Alan never gets mad. He just gets even. Oh, my goodness gracious. Real quickly here for you, I got some motorcycle news, and we'll get this thing wrapped up for you. It's brought to you by our good friends at the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame. And they're celebrating and preserving memories and great motorcycle racers and the motorcycle industry's icons past and present. And Scratch has got his shoe. I got my shoe. And here's our shoes right here. Here are our shoes. There's the shoes. Well, you got them. You want to be part of it, I'll give you some information at the end of the show. Hey, a real cool article came out in People magazine. Brian Deegan made his name in the X Games legend. He is the dad and the son of Hayden, 19, daughter Haley, 23, and raised up in racing. Brian and his wife, Marissa, also put the kids on camera starting at an early age, YouTube videos and everything else. Haley, Hayden, and Brian spoke to People magazine. It's a great story. We want to pick it up. Couple of weeks old, but it's a really good story. Haley is pretty much, I think, her days in NASCAR, but she's starting to work this. Open wheel stuff like the what do they call it? The F2 type of series, IndyCar before the lights and everything else. So she's getting some time. Saw some videos that she posted. It seems like she's getting used to the car. AMA Supercross results around number 10 450 class is Chase Sexton and his KTM Malcolm Stewart on the Husky, picking up the win. 450 class right now, it's Cooper Webb up on top for the points. Chase Sexton, Ken Rosen, Justin Cooper, and Malcolm Stewart 51 back. 250cc class, Nate Thrasher on his Yamaha, RJ Hamsphere in his Husky, and Tom Valai on the KTM. Points right now, it's Valai, Hampshire, and Seth Hammaker, 13 back. Right now in the 250, they had the weights off the West standings. Hayden Deegan leaves it on top by Julian Bremer and Cole Davis. Flat Track Series, man, Super Twin winner, Dallas Daniels, Blair Broman. The ATF, it was Cody Cobb and Tom Drain. And coming up for you, AMA Super National Championships round 120 June 21st in Bakersfield. Round number 2 is going to be August 9th at Industry Hills. And the final round is going to be at Fast Friday, September 9th. And then they've got an under 21 championship that they'll run in Bakersfield coming up on October 11th. Real quickly, Scratch, for the folks out there, Hart Shoe Hall of Fame, hold up the shoe if you wouldn't mind, my friend. Scratch has got his right there. I'm going to get you another pair, Scratch. Get you another pair, Sundown.
All right.
Chance for you to be part of it. We got two new partners coming on. We're going to make that announcement for you next week. One of the classiest hotels here in town is going to be joining this program, and just finishing up the deal with them. But if you'd like to be part of it, it's really easy. Scratch is holding up the shoe right there, and I'm going to hit the ticker, and it'll tell you right there at the bottom. Here it is. If you'd like to be part of it, just go to the hotshoehof.com. That's hotshoehof.com. Hit the donate tag right there. And I'll tell you what, if you spend a $500 donation or a $1,000 donation, we'll give you television spots here. If you spend $500, we'll give you 100 of them rolling through the season. If you spend $1,000, we'll give you 200 spots, social media presence, and everything else. Need some more information? You can drop me a line at onpitroadracing@gmail.com or give the studio line or actually the office line a call at 702-803-0875. That's 702-803-0875. Your donation, folks, is totally 100% tax deductible. We've got the paperwork. I've actually got little things put together, Scratch. They're little laminates, like little rock star laminates that has all the 501c3 information on it, everything. We can do it.
That's great.
How about your racing? There you go. What do you got going this weekend, buddy? Where you at? Where you running?
I'm gonna be at Ocala Speedway, man. It's the only dirt race. It's the only dirt track. They do run it twice, but it's the only dirt track that they run for Tour Destruction. So we're gonna go take a stab at the dirt this weekend in my Ford Focus that I got back together. I got the clutch in it, and I was out there last night till 1 o'clock in the morning. Worked all day and all night on it yesterday. That's what I did yesterday. So but it's ready, man. It's getting. I'll tell you, for full contact racing, I don't know if I told this story yet, but it's a stick shift. It's a manual, and for flagpole racing and some other incidents, that you get into, I don't know that a stick shift is the preferred method versus like if I was roundy round racing, I would not have a problem with it. I would want that, you know what I mean, to get that kind of get up and go right out of the box,
Right.
But if you get you can get spun around in this stuff a lot, or in the flagpole race, and have to stop, like literally stop to keep from hitting people because they're coming around in front of you, so then you got to downshift and all this other stuff. And I just feel like maybe the stick shift wasn't necessarily the preferred method for the enduro racing, but we've got a new clutch in it. The car is getting beat up, man. It's races twice an event. So we got a few more events coming up, but I got it all back together. It's ready to go. A couple of little maybe adjustments Saturday morning before we take it to Ocala, but we're gonna go run it on the dirt and have some fun with it and see what this dirt life's about again. I wasn't very good at it before.
Well, it's all about slinging and flinging, finding that cushion, man. Finding that cushion. Real quickly, I don't know if you caught it. It came out on Flow last night. And, of course, they had the big father-son thing over there. I think it's at Millbridge in North Carolina, just on the other side of Charlotte in there. And the Bush, Kyle and his son Brexton got into it. It was a fight. You know what? I'm going to take – and Brexton did. He said he couldn't wait to beat his dad's butt. And he came close. Brexton got up to the back side of him one time, and there was a nice little interview, and Kyle even said, well, he got the inside line, so I was going to work it upside if that's where he was. But he could have put his dad in the wall, and he didn't. He showed some great patience there. But the thing that was really cool about it, and I think you'll agree with me, that it's good to see Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch is out with his son. They're racing together on the track, obviously, this racing is way beyond what Kyle's doing every week. He started on the dirt. He started in Pahrump up here. But to get out there with your young, 9, 10-year-old kid, pretty much equal cars all the way around. But him and Harvick's doing it with his kid, and Kevin Harvick's kid is starting to come up through the ranks. And Earnhardt's sister, little kid, I think his name is Wes Miller, is Carrie Earnhardt Miller. Her little boy is really starting to come up. Got him in a junior super late or something. And this kid won this past week. So the point that I'm trying to get to is this: it is really good to see some of these guys, Kyle Busch, Harvick, and the rest of them. Jamie McMurray's son is coming up through the ranks, and it's good to see that the dads are getting out there with him. And go ahead.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what's going to make them really be able to teach. Racing with them is going to definitely help teach them, I would imagine, because you're able to follow, that's one thing I like to do with my buddy, for example, that races with, he's raced the school bus figure eights out there. If you remember my buddy Nick we did a piece on, he races one of our enduro cars, and I always tell him, man, let's be near each other. I'm like, but I'm gonna follow you. So I like to chase him. You know what I mean? And then so I mimic him and I chase him. And because it's not that I haven't raced before. It's that he has done this, whether it be in a school bus or whatever, more frequently and recently than I have.
Right.
So I try to follow him and mimic him a lot of times. And a few times I've been able to do it, lately, I've caught up with him and noticed, a little less, not fear, but a little less fear is the word I'll use, going to try to do certain things, and then sometimes, it's people just get in the way and he goes this way and I got to go this way. And next thing you know, I don't see him the rest of the race. But, but I'm saying that, so I would imagine for the kids, being able to race with their dads, especially as great a careers as they've had, they're going to learn a lot by being right behind them and chasing them around, following them around. And Brexit didn't wreck Kyle because he probably has to help Dad fix that thing in the garage.
He doesn't. And, there's some really cool stuff that they put up on their Facebooks and social medias where Kyle's up in there. He's in there, and he talks about what Brexton's got to do and what's going to happen. And Kyle's teaching him about changing the tires. He's teaching me, and that's another thing. Some of these kids nowadays, they're paid to drive. They show up with their helmet and fire suit in hand, and let's hope the team put the car together. But they don't know about using a screwdriver. They don't know about using a wrench.
Right.
They don't know about a pair of pliers or a cutting tool or whatever it might be. And it's good that these guys and I've seen a lot of video with Jamie McBurry does the same thing. Kyle Busch is doing the same thing to where they've got those kids in there going, hey, listen, you're going to learn how to change the tire. You're going to learn how to do this, and you're going to learn how to put fuel in your car and this and that. And so that's a good thing. And I'm glad to see this happening, because we know that the regular people that we talk to, the racing around the country, the local people that you see at the tracks every week down in New Smyrna, what I see out here, those guys are the guys that are busting their butts every day. They're working a 9 to 5, 7 to 3, whatever job it takes, and to get that money together. And some of these kids out here act like they're entitlement to it, but instead of that, the dads are getting them in the shop. They're putting wrenches in their hands. They're getting grease up underneath their fingernails, and that's what racing's all about, buddy.
Yeah, man. I spent all day Saturday and all day Sunday and all day yesterday making sure I had my piece of junk ready to go, to go run an enduro race and a flagpole race and hope I could win and get $2,000. You know what I mean? The chances of that happening with 60 cars out there is a lot less than, some of these little circuits the kids got right there. But but that's part of the fun for me, to be honest with you. But that's the way I grew up. I grew up at the shop, man. I had my dirty hat on and my grease rag in my pocket when I was 7 years old, walking around the shop doing nothing but getting dirty, So it's just part of it for me that I like doing, I would do it. I do it. I mean, I do it now on my teammates' cars, as well. We all kind of work together, as long as you're working on your own, we'll help you. You know what I mean? We ain't trying to work on it without you necessarily, but yeah, it's part of what I like doing. Even if I wasn't driving, I would still help out and tinker and, this kind of stuff with my friends if I could, if it was offered to me. I love it.
It's a team sport, man. That's what it is. It's a team sport. I mean, everybody's got to do their job. The driver can only do so much. The car's got to be prepared right. Everything's got every nut, every bolt, every wire, everything's got to be tucked in. Everything's got to be right to do. And it's all about working together. That's what I like about motorsports, that everybody works together. It's not the me. Yeah, the driver's the one. Once the driver gets bolted in there, then it's it. But still not just him, because the pit crew's got to perform too. They got to perform. They got to make sure it's right.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, even with my racing, my buddy Gene, man, him and I work side by side on these cars. Working on hours and helping out with the other stuff. And now he's got his car ready. He raced his Mini Cooper. He thought it was going to overheat, so he didn't race the Enduro. He pulled it in instead of racing the Enduro at Frida Factory, but then he ran the flagpole race and he did better than myself and Nick. You know what I'm saying? We got to watch him. We got to watch him race from a pretty good spot, but that was no fun for us. But we just try to help each, especially in this kind of stuff for us. It's we all have the same mindset. Some of us have a little more time than the other ones. Me working for myself, I'm able to go spend a Wednesday there from noon to 1:30 in the morning, and just tinker with stuff. I got it set up now. Okay. So this is one of the dumb things I was doing while I was waiting for Gene to get off work and help me down there, a little bit because we had to do some welding and stuff, and I don't weld. So, but I had mounted and made it. I'm impressed by it, even though it's just stupid. I mounted a phone holder like up back over my head, right behind me a little bit.
Right.
But I have another one mounted like on the front bar on the right, because I have a couple of phones that, okay, if something happens to it, I don't really care that much. One of them's already kind of smashed, but not my good phones. But I'm going to put them in there, and I'm going to do what we're doing right now. I got a StreamYard. I'm going to put it on Nutshack Entertainment TV. Yes, I'm going to use my YouTube Nutshack Entertainment TV, and I'm going to use my StreamYard, and I'm going to run those two phones. So you got two angles of me inside the car. The one of me from the side, and then from the back to the front of the car. And I'm gonna test it out in Ocala, and then if it works out, then I got an idea that I'm gonna do. So, but yeah, for now, I'm gonna test the in-car camera with the two phones and using my StreamYard to broadcast live on my Facebook and on my Nutshack Entertainment TV YouTube. So we'll see. I'm gonna test run it Saturday though.
All right. Well, we're back in action. We'll be back in live action, of course, next week. We're just waiting on a final confirm, but everything's set and ready to go. Mr. Michael McDowell will join us next week. Nice. Scratch on this program out here, man. And I've interviewed Michael in what they call the media blitz pit at the track, and real good guy. So I've just got a couple of questions and things with JP to get finished up, and we've intentionally got Michael set and ready to go with us next week. Johnny Spilatro, and then after that, it's going to be drag racing because they're 2 weeks away from coming here, and we're going to get the press luncheon. April 5th, Scratch, we're back at the Bull Ring, so we're going to be doing a special Saturday night, just a quick little 1 hour shot from the Bull Ring. We're going to talk to some of the local kids that are racing out here, some of the Bando and Legend drivers, and we'll stop by the Super Lates and over at the Modifieds and see our friends over there. But it's good to be back.
What date is that? What date is that?
Well, let's see. I think it's. I'll pull the calendar up for you real quickly. And as I look down, it's going to be Saturday night, April 5th. We will be at the Bull Ring, my friend.
All right.
We'll be at the Bull Ring. And then we've actually got they called us up, and there's a couple things that happened politically wise, and so we took some time away, but we got some requests and calls to come back to the Bull Ring, and we love going there, and apparently there's new management and things that are handling it at
Didn't you track announce for a little bit at the Bull Ring?
I did one full season there, and good friend of ours that Chet Chester he'd been the announcer at the Bull Ring for years. He had done it for years. And Chet got a television deal and decided to do it. They called me up. They called us because they knew about the show. We had just started the show at that time. Yeah. And we started.
You got the voice for it.
And I'm going to tell you, it just wasn't my cup of tea. I won't go into everything that happened, everything will happen, but it just, nobody got mad. Nobody was fired. Nothing like that. It just wasn't my cup of tea. Yeah.
You got the voice for it though. Like when you and I were doing that damn race report on the radio station I used to work for, my former boss, my former program director. The first time we laid down that damn race report, he called me up. He was like, "Man, that guy's legit." I'm like, I know, it just sounds like motorsports is supposed to be coming out of his mouth, doesn't it? I mean, it's just, like literally racing and your voice go together to me.
It was a good experience. It was a really good experience. And I had done a couple of things before, and it just, like I said, there's a lot of this to the inside, and you and I'll talk about it offline, but there was a lot. But like I said, what it did for me is it opened up a lot of doors for this show. It opened up a lot of doors for us to continue on and grow. Because when Diane and I and Michael Price, and Diane and I originally started this program, and a big shout out to you, Mike. Hope you're feeling better, buddy. And I had some medical, but I hope you're feeling better. Love you, bro. Brother from another, man. And when we started doing it, when we got out there, they did not give us hot passes. They did not give us full clearance the first 2 years that we went to LVMS. We had to work for it. We had to work with the cold pass, which meant when the track was hot, you couldn't be in the garage, you couldn't be on pit road, you couldn't be that. You had certain limited times and certain limited places that you could go. And so we had to make, in an old expression here in Vegas, we had to make our bones. And that's what we did. But it opened up a lot for us. It got us to the bull ring. It got us to the big track. It got us to the dirt track. It got us over to the speedway, to the drag strip, to where we met the people from the NHRA. We met the people from World of Outlaws. We've met the people, obviously, from NASCAR. So, the experience wasn't a total wash. It just wasn't my cup of tea. And,
right.
I'm glad to go back to the bull ring. I missed a lot of the people out there, and Kevin Terrell and Aaron McMorrin, Johnny Spilatro. Of course, we lost the great Scott Gaffarini, the 7-time champion, the most winningest driver ever at the bull ring. I think that's going to be my first. I think that's going to be my first thing to when I walk in through the pits, and I don't see the number 38 or the number 49 car. And I think that's the dose of reality, knowing that Scott's, obviously he's not here anymore, but
right.
Not to see his cars there is one thing. But we're glad to be back. We've got 4 dates lined up with the bull ring. We're going once in April, May. Then, of course, we'll do the Night of Fire, which is the night before the 4th of July. Then they shut down for about 3 months here because it's just too darn hot, man. I mean, you can't put these guys out here in these race cars and 3-ply Kevlar fire suits and all the helmets.
No, it gets warm out there.
Yeah, it gets real warm. So they shut down, and then we'll come back and cover championship week out there for them. So we want to thank.
It's hotter. It's hotter. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to thank Kevin Terrell and TJ Clark and everybody out there. So we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys in the bull ring racers. We'll see you. Rob Street will be along with us. Diane's going, and Rob will have the camera flashing, and we'll get out there and get some interviews from those young race drivers and get them up on the show and the racing around the country. So that's it. Any comedy shows coming up, my friend?
That'd be a fun time. I got one coming up in April. I don't remember right off the bat what the date is. It's in April, but it'll be at a Beachside Tavern in New Smyrna, so that'll be fun right there. But yeah, like I said, the next big thing for me is racing in Ocala and giving the dirt a shot and trying to broadcast it live on Nut Shack Entertainment TV. It's a test run.
There you go.
So for anybody that does tune in to see these 2 in-car cameras of me running live, their phones. It's not completely professional setup, but I'm really good at rigging stuff, and I have it set up. So we're going to give it a test run and see what we end up with. There could be too much vibration, or who knows? I'm just going to.
Who knows what will happen? Well, you might end up getting something that you never thought you'd ever got. You just never know what's going to happen.
You never know. Keep the camera rolling. That's what I said.
All right. Well, get out and support local racing.
For sure.
Please do that, whether you're down there in the New Smyrna area, Ocala, Orlando Motorsports Park, or whether you're up here at the Bull Ring back east. You got so many tracks, great tracks all the way around. All you need to do is just get on the Google there. And if you're looking for circle track NASCARs type of thing, just go to NASCAR.com. Yeah. And if you hit local track section right there, they'll show you a map of all the tracks and everything. But no matter what. Also, real quickly, Scratch, big shout out to all of our, I don't call them fans, I call them race friends. Last 2 weeks ago, we absolutely just blew this thing apart. Over 119,000 views, downloads, over 9,000 shares. And we want to thank you guys for doing our coverage at Las Vegas Motor Speedway with the interviews, post-race stuff, all the shows that we had in the studios there. But it's still growing, and I wanted to thank you. In fact, Facebook has contacted us to where we could get a check. So thank you all. Thank you all for liking it. And we do appreciate, we appreciate your comments. You can do that. You can drop us a line at onpitroadracing@gmail.com. Diane pretty much covers all that. She books the guests. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, the segment's called Racing Around the Country. That's where we feature local racers. No matter if you're from the West Coast, you're over there at Daytona and Scratch's area, over in that area, wherever you're from, they can. And we got some European people coming on, Scratch. So
what?
We've got some people from Europe they're going to come on there. We'll have to do some taping. We'll have to do some taping or come in to do some live. Keep them up late, or us do some taping with them. But yeah, we've got some people from Europe, from the UK, from Sweden, Scotland. All over that are doing that. So Diane's lining up, and we thank you, because if you guys weren't doing it and viewing it, liking it, and if there's something you don't like, tell us. We're not perfect, right, Scratch? I'm not a perfect person, my friend. So I am not.
And
I made a mistake.
Sometimes I'm unlikable.
Yeah. Hey, I made a mistake 2 weeks ago and said the Woods brothers, and it's not the Woods brothers, it's the Wood brothers. And I got called out on it. And I said, hey, I made a mistake, so here it is. I made it right. Anything else you want to add for today, buddy?
I don't believe so. Well, I'm gonna keep the new Enduro car a secret.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, I'll keep that a secret.
All righty.
Go to nutshackentertainment.com or comedyfromscratch.com. That's probably the last thing I want to say. Not the last.
All right, I'm gonna call for John then. How about
it? That then. Let's do that.
Call for him. I want to thank you for joining today's Scratch with a K down at Daytona at the Nutchuck Studios. Alan Michaels here in Las Vegas. Thank you to Mickey Gentili for joining us today. Gene Woods. Back at you next week, everybody. 3 p.m. here on the West Coast, 6 p.m. on the East Coast. John, take us home, man.
Thanks for joining us for On Pit Road Racing. Follow us on our website, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at On Pit Road Racing. On Pit Road Racing is written and produced by WCOBN TV. I'm John the Announcer for On Pit Road Racing.